This is a remake of a previous video from a few years ago entitled Psychological Resilience and Post-Traumatic Growth. I thought the transcript was valuable and relevant to all of us at some time in our lives, so I rewrote it and made a few changes. This year has been exceptional so far, to say the least, and I've no doubt the worst is yet to come. But I'm a firm believer that adversity breeds resilience. Indeed, many people would not strive so hard to succeed in life were it not for the hardships they've suffered and the obstacles they've had to overcome. The current generation of snowflakes who protest about their perceived social and racial inequalities would do well to drop their victim cards and see the world for what it really is. Adversity breeds strength of character, but only if we accept it and get back up every time we fall. Inequity and injustice are part of life. Nobody said it would be easy. But this video is for us, the men who gird up their loins, prepare for hardship, and welcome misfortune, because it breeds character and it tempers the man. Over the last year or so, I've chosen to put myself through a series of ordeals. I value these experiences, and I consider them to be essential for my own personal and spiritual growth. These ordeals have proven to be both psychologically and physically grueling, but they've also proven themselves to be a reliable source of valuable life lessons. Much preparation and research has been undertaken on my part to ensure that I don't come to any permanent physical or psychological harm, and this experiment is ongoing. As a result, I've overcome any fear of death I may have had, but more importantly, I'm learning to overcome my fears of life. Everything bad that's ever happened in my life has been a valuable learning experience. It may not have felt like it at the time, but evidently we grow as a result of trauma. Trauma sounds like a bad word, but when we evaluate the entire process from beginning to end, trauma is nothing more than a precious and relevant ordeal, a necessary lesson at that specific time in our lives. Sometimes I reason by saying, life isn't meant to be fair, so we need to lower our expectations to avoid disappointment. But when we look closely at what we gain from traumatic events, we can see that we're often rewarded if we take the time to examine how we came to be in certain situations and what we stand to learn from them as a result. It seems pretty fair when we look for the positives, when life slaps us in the face or punishes us. It reminds us that we are nothing, and it can beat us to a bloody pulp any time it chooses if we get too cocky. If we demand answers, but we're not ready for them, the next important lesson will be held back from us until we change our ways. Or if we continue on with foolish behaviour, we may have to suffer the same consequences and learn the same lessons more than once. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear in the form of conscious awareness, realization of newfound knowledge and wisdom, which has always been there, just waiting to be seen. Sometimes I hide messages in the imagery, words, or music in these videos, and very few people see it. Some people only see what they want to see, what they're ready or willing to see. The more I see, the more I realize that I know very little, if anything at all, about life. So this could all just be nonsense that only makes sense to me at this specific moment in time. The world changes so quickly, and we have to learn to adapt to change in order to function and survive in this realm. The frequency keeps on changing. There's a ringing in the ears, and it's many hertz higher than Schumann resonance. One thing we can rely on is that after trauma comes growth. Compare it to a steel billet. Once it's been heated in a forge, it can be drawn out and shaped into a blade. There's no sense in heating that billet over and over without working it in between. The time spent hammering and shaping that steel is comparable to time spent processing and examining the effects of trauma. We are forged in emotional fire, beaten on the anvil of life and tempered so we can withstand more punishment. After trauma, we experience growth. Post-traumatic growth comes with a heavy price tag. We learn that recovery and growth after traumatic ordeals comes with relative amounts of distress and psychological pain. It can be said, however, that when a man begins his recovery, it's a clear sign of post-traumatic growth, leading to a more meaningful life. We're reminded of Nietzsche: that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. The experience of traumatic events causes distress and can also make us realize just how vulnerable we are, how other people can take away our power and control us, or take away our freedoms. These life events can give us a greater awareness of our own mortality. They strengthen our resolve and prepare us for future trauma. Our aim on recovering from trauma should be to emerge more cautious, wiser, and better prepared mentally for the future. Whenever we're tested in life, we learn our strengths and weaknesses. As a result, we can become more confident and less willing to take unnecessary risks. We become more measured and thoughtful when making decisions. Wars, bereavements, losses, incarceration, childhood neglect and abuse will test a man. Even if they break his mind or his spirit, he can still emerge stronger, with a greater awareness of life, and be better equipped to deal with future hardships. Just like the poem says, if you can watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. The whole process may run over the course of many years and go through several stages, maybe even our entire lives. Take, for instance, a man as he was before the trauma or series of ordeals. His beliefs and worldview were all still intact, according to his life experiences up to this point. Then the traumatic event or series of abuses or violations takes place. The man or boy is then forced to manage the emotional distress caused by these ordeals. He becomes vulnerable, and his beliefs have now been challenged. His worldview is now compromised, and his future goals or dreams may have been shattered. Then begins the rumination. It's autonomic and intrusive. Rumination becomes a constant distraction and causes further emotional discomfort. This continues until he learns to manage those perpetual ruminations and lets go of those lost dreams and aspirations he once had for his life. Or he may have to adapt and change to his situation if he wishes to continue on the same path. Grief and loss are part of life. We suffer when we become attached to things or people, and then we lose them. There's no shame in purging your soul, and by that I mean there's no shame in crying if that's what it takes. Every man breaks down at some point when things get too much, and that's okay. We cry alone. Nobody sees it, and nobody needs to see it. It's just a means to purge the soul. Refusing to acknowledge that life itself is suffering promotes suffering in itself. When a man begins to accept the realities of life and lets go of unrealistic expectations, the suffering begins to subside and healing begins. If we embrace trauma and observe its causes and effects, we can profit from it. But if we assume a psychological fetus position for the duration and repress all memories of it, we gain nothing. The same can be said if we choose to stay in that place and play the victim. There's no growth. There's no payoff. It's one of the hardest things to do because it means letting go of mummy's apron strings and embracing a baptism of fire. It's a rite of passage from boy to man. If we have to leave the safety of the tribe to do it, then so be it. It's our Garden of Gethsemane, our dark night of the soul. There is peace on the other side of suffering. So we march or die. When adversity ends, we begin the long, hard road to recovery. Recovery of the self. Building a new identity and finding new purpose in life. Rumination still comes and goes as we reach acceptance through a constant inner monologue. We learn about our strengths and limitations. We learn how much of ourselves we can safely invest in other people, who to trust and how much to trust them. We learn to become self-sufficient and independent, relying on ourselves first and foremost, with a small social circle to fall back on in emergencies. There will be times when there is nobody around and we have no fallback. This needs to be realized early on. You may be locked in a prison cell or standing on a street corner, penniless, and there will be nobody to help you at that moment in time. And that's the reality of life. But we learn how to manage these situations. We adapt and overcome. We survive. Although rumination is sometimes seen as negative, in this instance, the constant stream of thoughts is more rational. It's about problem solving and trying to make some sense of the present situation or past traumas and draw some positive conclusions. If a man is mindful of his ruminations, he can use it as a chance to engage with those intrusive thoughts and begin to process them, maybe even just acknowledge that thought and consciously put it to one side for deeper introspection later that day. He can set aside quiet time to see those thoughts clearly, rather than just turning them over in his mind. Now is a good time to choose a more positive attitude to misfortune. It's a blessing in disguise. Is change long overdue? Maybe even necessary to take you away from harm and closer to a more peaceful life? Are the problems you face in life sent to push you in another direction? Some studies have concluded, and it stands to reason, that greater amounts of trauma, sustained or drawn-out abuses, or a life-threatening ordeal will produce higher levels of resilience after growth. However, the recovery may take longer, and there may also be a prolonged period of denial before rumination begins and growth can occur. Some men may refer to their life before the event and their life after the event, as if there's a fracture or break in their life story where their ordeal happened. They have a pre-traumatic life and a post-traumatic life. Recovery is then said to be dependent on several factors, those being the man's personality pre-trauma, his levels of psychological resilience, and the amount of psychological damage sustained as a result of the traumatic event. The intensity and duration of the trauma would also need to be factored into the equation. In severe cases of learned helplessness, growth may not even be initiated or even considered by the trauma survivor. One answer to this situation may be found with Thorndike and Skinner in their operant conditioning. The introduction or reintroduction of rewards or incentives was proven to rapidly renew motivation. Once the fear of punishment or harm has gone, or benefits have been reinstated, the learned helplessness is quickly reversed and recovery can begin, leading to post-traumatic growth. This may be one possible solution for those men who've been completely overwhelmed by loss, trauma or grief. If we're too hard on ourselves, or too austere when it comes to personal discipline, it can take the fun out of life and lower our mood. There needs to be a balance, a middle way between suffering and recovery. We need to look after ourselves, eat well, stay fit and healthy, manage our finances, and rest when we're tired. Once those intrusive thoughts have been recognized, they can be processed and examined. There's a clear distinction between those intrusive, disturbing flashbacks and the more deliberate reflections, consciously made in an attempt to make sense of past traumas. Reflection or deliberate rumination lends itself to the repair or re-evaluation of an individual's beliefs and a renewed understanding of the world. The ability to comprehend what has happened to him is key to understanding how vulnerable he is and the damage he sustained as a result. The fact that he survived also confirms his resilience. The amount of damage sustained and the more emotionally disturbing his ordeal correlates with the time spent coming to terms with it and accepting the outcome. Once a man has overcome his trauma, he builds up a kind of resistance, a renewed resilience. He is now more prepared for future traumas. He's more able to bounce back, and he can gauge new threats in relation to past ordeals. It's comparable to an earthquake destroying a house. Once rebuilt, the structure stands on stronger foundations, with thicker walls. It would take a greater earthquake to level the new structure, and the man who rebuilt the house knows this to be true. He is now psychologically prepared, stronger in his mind, and more confident that he can withstand punishment and recover from it. He's also now better equipped to recover from subsequent traumas. His renewed philosophy and outlook on life means that he's less likely to get caught off guard in the future. But even if he does, he's able to accommodate the possibility of another one of life's earthquakes and implement his previous plans for recovery. He's done it before, so in theory, he can do it again. He can use past ordeals to assess the size of new challenges in life and see that he's overcome greater obstacles in the past, emerging stronger and wiser. He will worry less because he knows that things could be a lot worse. Once a man has experienced adversity and post-traumatic growth, a lesser or equal traumatic event may not cause additional growth, but will no doubt cause him stress. His view of others and renewed philosophy for life are now more realistic and less likely to be shattered as before, because he carries with him this preparedness and increased resilience to help him deal with whatever the future throws at him. When ordeals are sent to test us, we need to ask ourselves, has the teacher just appeared?